This podcast could potentially have adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly the possibility of sexual content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the literary briefs edition. Eventually, we'll have an underwear sponsor. I am your host, Eric Lance. Our sponsor today is Young Brother Spirits, coupon code DWA10. Please check them out. My co-host, I've already finished a bottle of wine, so I'm good. I'm going to get through this. My co-host today is the amazing Danielle Orsino. Thank you so much for being here.
And if you're listening to us or watching us, please do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and then leave us a little bit of feedback as you've been drinking along. And I'm sure you have so much to say about this podcast. So just let us know.
Or Danielle's t-shirts. Either way, that's fine. Wonder Woman. I really want that theme to play all of a sudden in my head.
I'm going to wear my bracelets next time.
Yeah. Braces. Our amazing guest today is Ember Hintz. Woo! 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 Okay, let's talk about what I have mostly finished drinking so far. Is my Pacific Rim. I'm fine. It's okay. We'll get through this episode. I can already.
Words are hard.
Sweet Riesling, 70% organic. I swear eventually they'll just reach out to me and tell me why it's only 70%. But I'm down to this little bit remaining from the bottle. Ooh. It's a very tiny amount, but I'm feeling it and it's wonderful. Danielle, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking my Peach Tree Celestial Seasonings peach tea in my Lady Penelope mug, which will be for sale very soon once I figure all that out. But for right now, it's mine.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Jay, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Reaper. It's a cocktail made of chartreuse, which is an ancient recipe made by monks in France. Only 3 people in the world know the recipe at any one given time. So it's got chartreuse and some ginger beer and some mango habanero syrup. So it's very good, very spicy.
That sounds so amazing. So amazing.
Try that.
Very good. Yeah. And it's sweet. It's spicy and it's sweet.
Mango habanero whiskey from I think it's Tennessee Whiskey Company.
I haven't tried
I've gotten seriously drunk on that with Jonathan Mayberry. Anyway, it's fine.
It's a good time.
Yes, it was a good time. It was when I decided to stop just drinking straight hard liquor on these podcasts because I was like, look, I just downed like a half of a fifth or an entire fifth. Well, on the pod, that's not good. It's not recommended. Makes me seem like an alcoholic. I'm not, I promise.
It's hard when you're a podcast host and you start to slur your words.
Hey, don't worry, my sponsor.
And that's why she's got a co-host.
There is a reason I have a co-host. It's to keep me on the rails. Okay, rapid fire questions. What is your favorite book of all time?
Someone has asked me this before. So I'm going to go kind of with an oddball. So my favorite book of all time is probably going to be the book that I read cover to cover the most. And it's A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. I love A Light in the Attic. I loved his humor. It's a little snarky. I imagine he's kind of a little bit of an asshole in real life, but I kind of love that. But it's children's humor, but it's really written for adults. So yeah, Sister for Sale is one of my favorite poems.
Yeah, see, I did If You Have to Do the Dishes. By the way, that entire theory does not actually work, Shel Silverstein. So yeah, if you drop one on the floor, they still make you do the dishes. You just get in a lot of trouble. So that was bad advice. Bad advice given to me as a child. So I'm just going to say, okay, what is your least favorite book?
So there's a lot of books that I don't finish for one reason or the other, but I would say out of the books that I've finished, I would say probably my least favorite are the ones I was forced to read. My mother was an English teacher for most of my life, and she made us read like literary classics, and she made me read Little Women, and I hated it. And I know I'm probably going to get hate mail for this, but it's just, for me, it's not my genre. It's not my thing. It was just so it was so dry. Just couldn't get into the characters, and I hated every moment that she made me read that book. So
you won't
yeah,
get hate
Little
mail.
Women.
I say way worse things about other, Daniel will tell you. I say way worse
Yeah.
things about, don't get me started on
Yeah.
Jane Austen. I have a whole entire thing for that. So
Yeah.
Jane Austen fanfic.
Don't.
not
Yeah.
not him. Okay. What is your favorite movie or TV show made from a book that you think they did really, really well? Like you're like, nailed it.
Oh wow, there's so many. I'm like a TV whore. I love watching movies and television. I love especially anything that was from a book. My favorites probably most recently is the Shadow and Bone series that was done on Netflix, from Leigh Bardugo's
that was
books.
good.
It's from
Yep.
her, and it combined 2 of her series, which is fantastic. And it doesn't follow the books completely, because even though they're written in the same world, the timelines are completely off in the Six of Crows series and the Shadow and Bone series. I forget which happens first. I think Six of Crows happens well after the Shadow and Bone series, but they involved her, from what I've seen, they've involved her significantly in the screenplay or the writing of the script, and pulling it together. And I thought they did it really, really well. I was a little scared because I love the characters so much, and every single actor looked exactly as I portrayed them in my head. So I thought that was done really, really well. Fantastic. Enjoyed every second of it.
I agree. What about the opposite, where they did terribly and you were like, they should not have been allowed to do this ever?
So I did. So there's I can't remember what it's called. There's like it's called Passion Flicks. It did an adaptation of a paranormal romance that I really like by Jennifer Armentrout, and it's a passion flick, so it's kind of like a B-grade movie to begin with, but that wasn't my favorite. And then I would say probably my least favorite's going to be American Gods by, I think it was maybe HBO or
Neil
Showtime
Gaiman?
by Neil Gaiman. Yeah, I love the book, but I didn't really enjoy the I couldn't get into the show. It lost me after the first couple episodes. I never finished it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Heard that from a couple
Danielle?
people, yeah. Oh, is it my turn for the obligatory question? Got it.
Whatever question you'd like to ask, please, my darling.
This
Go
one
for
should be
it.
interesting. Okay, Jessica, we've got it. You're going to bump into one of these 3 creatures, and you're going
Okay.
to prove that they exist. What do you pick and why? The Loch
Okay.
Ness Monster, Bigfoot, or a UFO? Go.
Ooh. So I'm not going to go with Bigfoot because I think there's way too many funny memes about sightings and things. I don't want anyone to ever know if it's real or not. So I'm not going to go with Bigfoot. I'm going to say UFO. I'm a huge like sci-fi alien fan. The way that I would prove that it was real is that I would beg them to pick me up and take me with them, and then I would not tell anyone else. And all I needed to know that it was real, and I didn't need to prove to anyone else. Like, take me to your leader. I will be the first person to volunteer to lead with them.
There you go.
Wow, that escalated really quickly.
Yeah,
I love
we're gonna go write a book, but
sci-fi.
that's okay.
I love sci-fi. I loved, I grew up watching, Star Trek and syndication, and ever since then I've just been hooked. So yeah.
So are
Hopefully
you
they'll be
Trekkie
friendly.
or Star Wars or both?
I'm sorry.
Trekkie or Star Wars or both?
Oh, both. 100% both. Yep.
Very cool.
Picard
do you
or Shatner?
cosplay?
Oh,
Oh,
Picard.
sorry.
Picard?
Yeah, I think Picard. Yeah.
Gotta ask.
Shatner has his things. I have to say, my favorite Star Trek movie is Galaxy Quest.
I love Galaxy Quest.
Hands down, Galaxy Quest to me is my favorite Star Trek movie of all time.
I love Galaxy Quest.
Second is Wrath of Khan, but
Oh,
Galaxy
good.
Quest
Come on.
to me was like everything I absolutely loved about Star Trek.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All the
I
little
wish they had made a
quirky.
sequel.
Yeah, no, they had talked about it, but we lost a key component of that situation.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love the older ones too, like where the tech is just so bad, and it's just comical at this point to go back and watch some of those, and there's just a charm in that.
I agree. And again, another show that was people were like Like, I didn't know, here's something fun story. I didn't know this. Do you know that Lucille Ball is the reason that Star Trek was on TV?
Yes. She
I did
believed in
not
it.
know
Yes.
that. That's fantastic.
Lucille Ball had a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was her production company
Mhm.
that greenlighted Star Trek. Otherwise, it would never have been on the thing. And also, it had the first interracial kiss ever. And that's because every time they went to film it, because they're like, we want to do one with it and one without it. And every take, they kissed. Like, they did not get a non-kissing take out of the deal.
I do see that. I did hear that somewhere.
Yeah, I love that. I love that about that. That show. But that was neat. If there's a couple Lucille Ball sort of documentaries of her life and stuff played by different people, and that was in there, and it was very I loved hearing that. Okay, Danielle, you have to ask a question because my brain just went blank, and you've had tea and I've had wine.
That's quite all right. What is your spirit animal?
Ooh, what a good question. My spirit animal. Well, I have Native American medicine cards. And so you go through and it gives you get to do a reading. It's kind of like tarot sort of, but you do a reading and you can find your spirit animal. And one of the most surprising ones was a beaver. And not for the reasons that you would think as a romance author, but it was just being kind of precocious and doing their own thing, not following rules, that kind of stuff. So I really liked that. And then but I think if I had to pick, does it have to be a real animal?
No.
I would probably say my spirit animal is the sky bison from named Appa from the Avatar: The Last Airbender TV show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to be a flying sky bison, just a gentle giant, and sail my way around the world, see the sights.
Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
I'm all there. I'm there with you. If you could visit one place in out of the literary world, one land, whatever, where would you go and why?
I would probably pick like any can it be from comic books?
Yeah.
I'd probably pick the world of X-Men because it's modern and they have flushing toilets, and I'd want to have some type of mutant power. Yeah.
So we're going to Xavier's school.
Yes. Oh no, I'd probably be with Magneto, honestly.
Oh, okay. We're going. All right.
We
We're heading on
I'm
Brotherhood.
I'm team villain. Yeah, Mystique is my favorite. I love her. She's my favorite X-Men. I love her so much. Yeah.
Is that
Okay,
the
so
power
we're heading
you
to the
want to
Brotherhood
have?
of Mutants.
Oh yeah, to be able to shift into any form that I want. Yeah, absolutely. I would totally be down with having scales in my normal body as well.
I like this. This got very dark very quickly.
And I'm okay with that.
What's really funny, Danielle lives up in North Carolina near me now, and not intended. She just happens to live in the same state as I am in. But we moved up here, and I don't know, Danielle, if you've seen a lot of these groundhogs up here. And
I have not yet had that pleasure.
So we live on top of a mountain. Not me and Danielle, me and my boyfriend, but we live on top of a mountain. So there's a lot, and we're right near a river. There's a lot of different creatures. My boyfriend kept seeing groundhogs, and he's like, is that a beaver? And I'm like, no, that is not a beaver. And he's like, but it's the same color as a beaver. And I'm like, not exactly. I'm like, have you ever seen a beaver besides on the TV? And he's like, no. And I'm like, we're going to the zoo so you can see a beaver, because they're not small. Like,
No.
groundhog, beaver. Like,
yeah.
Very
they're very different. They fell trees, my love. Like, this is that little thing. This little thing's not going to do anything to a river current besides float down it and disappear.
The little guy from Caddyshack is not doing any damage.
Yeah, it's like a little potato. Yeah.
But it did cause me to realize that I think a lot of people, and I'm going on a slight tangent here because you said beaver, so it allowed me to do that. That people don't realize necessarily what certain animals and stuff like that look like in real life, how big they are. Like, right. I saw a great meme the other day that had two garbage dumpsters, but it had wild boars next to them. Like, one was getting in the dumpster. And it literally said on the bottom of the meme, I apologize, Robert Baratheon. Because people go, how did somebody die from a boar hunt? And I'm like, have you seen how big boars get?
Yeah.
Like they're the size of cars. Like,
Yeah.
that's how big they are. So anyway,
Yeah, we're kind of sheltered.
we're
kind of sheltered.
So if you're going to write about boars, you should do some research. Just saying.
That's right.
Or beavers.
Nothing takes me out of a novel more than getting an author getting a little tiny factoid wrong like that. I read in a book where the person goes kayaking as stress relief, and I think it's in the bay off LA, or maybe the San Francisco Bay or something. It's really rough water in a kayak, and it's like an ocean kayak, and she wears jeans and sneakers, and we kayak all the time. And I'm like, wait, and I had to go back, and I'm like, she's wearing jeans and sneakers in an ocean
in a kayak.
Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not how that works. I'm like, oh, if you're going to write about kayaking, at least go get in one, and at least once.
Yeah.
Or watch a lot of YouTube videos from people that are doing it, because none of them will be wearing jeans and a t-shirt, unless it's from Deliverance, where they're trying to run away and that's the only vehicle they have.
It's acceptable then. It would be fine. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask that question. What will throw you out of the story? I think you bring up an important point with that. Is do your proper research. If you want to throw in a fact, you can throw in a fact, but at least know what you're writing about, or make it very vague.
Right.
So that it doesn't matter if you know things.
Right. Or, or hedge on the bet that like maybe the people who know that fact aren't going to be your primary readers, and then you can just go with it and make up stuff.
I don't think you can ever know whether or not somebody who reads a genre goes kayaking.
No, that's too broad.
Yeah. Well, it's also I've written stuff written by people in like Florida and stuff where it doesn't get really cold, and they're like, she went out in her tank top and jean shorts to walk to whatever, and it's like 40 degrees, and you're like,
that was one of the things that my editor pointed out, because my first book is set in Hawaii. I had a lot of family that lived there. I've been there a lot of times. And but they work up at a telescope facility on the summit of Mauna Kea, and it gets very cold there. It snows there in Hawaii, and she's in the one scene, she's putting on a parka, and someone commented like, they're in Hawaii, nobody has parkas in Hawaii. I'm like, actually they do. But
again, not a widely known fact. That's funny because it works opposite. People will be reading going, what do you mean a parka in Hawaii? And you're like, no, but there's snow there. It's just that we don't take pictures of it, because that's how that works.
Right.
Okay. What is your favorite weird food combination that you like to eat?
So my husband likes to say that I eat like a 12-year-old. The thing I get the most crap about is that it's not really a combination, but it's a product. It's like a Coke coffee. It's sold in the like energy drink aisle.
Oh,
but it's Coke coffee. I don't know if you remember, like when Coke Black came out, I loved it, and it was only on the market for a short time. And these Coke coffees are very much like that. I'm addicted. I drink one every day with my lunch. But anyone who sees me drinking it, they just think I'm a weirdo.
I tried it because I saw it, and I'm like, I need to try this. I actually tried every flavor I could get my hands on. That is a terrible idea.
Some are better than others.
Yeah. There was one that I was like, if there was nothing else, I guess I could do this. But I'll tell you, I was like, who thought this was a good plan? But I get it. Everybody has their own tastes. A lot of people are into Jolt Cola. I happen to be a Jolt Cola person, but you also have to take vitamin C when you drink Jolt Cola. Otherwise, your gums will bleed. So, okay, what else?
So I do. I call it my my redneck sushi. Because I'm lazy, and we have a sushi making kit, but it's a lot of work. So I just do a saltine cracker with tuna salad and some pickled ginger on top. Takes like 10 minutes.
And you're like, done, sushi.
Done.
Nailed it right here. What about when you're writing? Do you snack when you write?
I do. So I have a hard time sitting in one place at a time, because I have degenerative disc disease and scoliosis, so I have to move around a lot. So I move around the house, and one of the places that I like to sit is either my bed or on the couch, but I tend to doze off sometimes, which doesn't help with getting the work in out there. So if I have like a snack, something crunchy, so like plain popcorn or goldfish crackers or pretzels or gummy bears or something like that, I always have a bowl of that next to me to kind of, as long as I have something like to chew or to crunch, it keeps me awake and it keeps me focused.
I'm surprised those Coke coffees are not keeping you awake and focused, because man.
Yeah.
Man.
I drink a lot of caffeine. I think I have like a very high tolerance. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had that problem when I used to do road trips, is I drank so much caffeine that like that was not keeping me awake anymore. No matter what it was like no amount of that was keeping me awake. And then I was like, okay, I need to probably back down from that.
Oh yeah. I have a kid that goes to college like 10 hours away. And so when we have to go pick them up, I do a family size bag of strawberry Twizzlers. So it's chewy. Good. It takes a long time to eat each one, and so it lasts the whole trip. So the next day, my stomach's not always great, but yeah, make it through the 10-hour trip in one shot.
Very cool. Go ahead, Danielle.
If you could be one mythical creature, what would you be?
Well, I don't know if this is mythical, but so does a witch count? Like someone who can wield elemental magic?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
I'd
that
probably
counts.
be a witch.
We'll take that.
I'd be a witch and do like elemental magic. Yeah.
So like a craft witch or a practical magic witch? Like,
oh no, like yeah, probably craft. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw exactly which one you went to as well.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. What about what is something that you find as a writer is your Achilles heel, like that you do and your editor is like, stop doing this?
I use a lot of repeated words. I'm terrible with punctuation, commas, semicolons, colons, em dash, like I need someone else to fix that for me. So that's kind of one of my things. But I reuse a lot of phrases. In my first book, the male character did a lot of like running his hand through his hair when he was like frustrated. They're like, okay, yeah, he does this like every 3 pages. We could probably cut some of those out. That'd be great. And I tend to stick to certain letters of the alphabet that I like. So in a lot of my fantasy names, she'll go through and say, okay, well, you have like these 8 fantasy words and 5 of them start with an A. You need to change them because as a reader, you're only reading the first 2 letters and going on and they're all blending together and now we're confused. So
I have a writer friend that every character had a J name in the book because I was like, okay, I don't even know who we're talking about here anymore. I was like, you got to redo all these names. I can't keep track. And then she got confused in the middle of it. So that made it even funnier. Yeah. I will say something, one of the other co-hosts, Chelsea, turned me on to was Word Hippo. If you guys have never used Word Hippo, it will give you a million other words for a word. So you don't have to repeat it. So
I love that one. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What oh my gosh, what was that? Your book is not an audiobook yet. Are you going to do that?
So that's the debate that I'm currently having. I did get some advice from a friend who kind of has their fingers in that world. And they said to hold off and wait because some of the AI options that are coming out down the road very shortly might make it a lot more affordable. Right now, based on my word count, I'm probably looking at like a $2,500 to $3,000 cost to do the audiobook. And I don't know that that will earn itself out over time, just because I would love to have an audiobook out there for folks who prefer audiobook to expand kind of my audience, but I don't know that I can justify it. I don't ever think it'll earn that back. So I'm kind of waiting to see what the AI options are that come out. Ideally, I wanted to get an audiobook out this spring, kind of in between the release of the first book and the release of the second book, but I'm not sure now. I'm kind of holding off and pulling the trigger on that.
Have you thought about doing it yourself?
No, I hate reading out loud. That's one of the things that I kind of have thought, just kind of like book covers. I don't know that I can do it. I've done a few readings for like recorded readings and they come out okay, but I write in dual POV. I can do the female voice okay. I don't think I would do justice to the male voice. I'm not a trained actor. I don't think I'd do a good job. I don't think I'd do it justice.
You know, a lot of, if you listen to a lot of audiobooks though, they're just telling the story with slightly different voices.
True.
They're not like, I'm gonna be this deep voice and I'm doing that, and they're just doing slightly different, so you can tell which character is talking.
I don't know. I think I got a little bit of stage fright. I listened to one of my favorite authors, is a newer author, Luke Arnold. And so he's a trained actor as well, and he does all his own audiobooks, and he's fucking phenomenal. He has all these characters, he does all these voices for them and different accents. It's incredible. So I just, it's kind of like that imposter syndrome. I'll always be comparing myself to the person who's best at it. So that's something to think about. I'm still percolating.
Micah, do you like listening to audiobooks?
I do. So usually I listen to an audiobook. It's going to be like a longer fantasy. Some of the things that are going to take me a really long time to read. I have a pretty significant commute every day. So I listen to the books that I want to read that are, approaching the like 500 or more page count, so that I can get those read. And then I leave the shorter ones, 300 or so, for the actual books that I read.
Since you do that, do you follow certain narrators?
I don't yet, not yet, no.
Interesting. Okay. Danielle, my love.
Well, now I have to know, since you're a comic book fan, DC or Marvel?
So I do love Batman so much. So I do love everything that Marvel puts out, but I'm gonna say probably DC. It's a little bit darker. So.
Ooh, interesting. So DC favorite character is Batman?
Yeah, definitely. Batman was the first movie that my first date ever took me to see the very first Batman movie. So I think it's just solidified in my mind. It's attached to like part of my id at this point. So yeah.
Are we talking the Michael Keaton Batman?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I don't think anyone will ever top Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Oh, no, for sure.
Anybody out there, but it's very hard to ever top that, ever.
No, she was definitely the best. Yeah.
Very cool. So obviously you have a commute audiobooks. What's your favorite kind of book to read? Do you prefer e-readers or paperbacks or hardbacks?
I do love, I don't like to read. I love hardbacks. I love collecting them like trophies, especially if I can get signed ones by authors, but I prefer to read a paperback just because it's much easier to hold in one hand while I'm laying in bed. I will say most of probably 90% of what I read is digital, and I read everything on my phone.
No, that makes sense. I had far too many books fall on my face that Kindle became more of my best friend for that reason. Not that Kindles can't fall on your face, but they don't have the same weight as a hardback book,
That's true. Yeah. Well, the worst part of like falling asleep is not necessarily the book falling out, it's just losing your place.
That's true. That's true. I do that with TV too, though. I fall asleep with TV on all the time. And unfortunately, it just keeps running episodes. I have to go, what episode was I on? Like,
or you wake up when there's a pause in the noise and it's the little screen that says, are you still watching?
Yeah. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Always make the mistake of going, don't ask me this again. And then I'm like, oh, I wish it had asked me that again. I wake up in the morning and still playing, like craziness. Okay, Danielle, final question, my friend.
Any shows influenced you when you were writing?
Yeah, actually. So I don't know if you guys ever watched Sense8. It was a Netflix TV show. It had a lot of like, it was the multiple souls who were they had a conscious connection between, I think there was 5 or 6 of them together. I loved that concept, and I did I added, that was kind of while I was drafting. It came out in one of the times I had pulled the book out and was working on it. And so I did use kind of that concept that hive mind is not necessarily how I would describe it, but psychic connections between people. Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. Okay, shameless self-promotion time again. Tell people about your book, where to get it, about my social media.
Yeah, so I'm on all the social media channels, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Most active probably on Instagram and TikTok. And you can find my book at emberhintz.com if you want signed author copies, or you can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Apple or Kobo or any of the other places where print and ebooks are sold. You can also get it on IndieBound or at your favorite bookstore. Go into your favorite bookstore.
The title of the book is?
that's important. The Ash Gardeners, and it is a supernatural romance with some sci-fi and fantasy elements.
Very cool. And what is your handle on all those socials that you described that you were on so wonderfully?
So my handle is at Ember Hintz, and with Twitter, with TikTok, I'm at author Ember Hintz.
Very, very cool. I'm so glad you came on the show with us.
Yes, I'm
very
excited.
wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Yay.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. This has been Drinking with Authors Literary Briefs. I've been your host, Erica Lance. Our sponsor today has been Skunk Brothers Spirits, coupon code DWA10. Please check them out. My co-host has been the amazing Danielle Orsino.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a little feedback, because now you've been drinking. So now the keyboard balls come out and you can tell us exactly what you think of us.
And we can't wait to hear it. And we will see you guys next time.
Yay.
Thanks for having me.